Bună seara, prieteni! Good evening! Este sâmbătă 28 octombrie. Suntem doar cu câteva ore înainte de kick-off pe Black Sea Cyber Week. So we will continue in English because Dr. John McCarthy is here with us. He just landed, so Mrs. McCarthy, John is in good hands here with us. We just arrived to the Maritime Cybersecurity Center. I'm here with John McCarthy and with Dr. Gabriel Raicu, the Vice Rector of Constanța Maritime University. And before going ahead and without further ado, I would have to say that tomorrow, 10 o'clock, Black Sea Cyber Week here at the Maritime University in Boulevardul Mircea cel Bătrân. So we're waiting for you from 10 o'clock on and to, I don't know, detense a bit the atmosphere here. I'd like to ask my colleagues and co-organizers of the event to present themselves in a few words. So the Vice Rector, Gabriel Raicu, and Dr. John McCarthy. John, welcome to Romania.
Thank you so much. What an honour and a privilege it is to be here in Romania. I haven't had a chance to look around yet. As you know, I've just dashed directly from the airport, but I have been to Romania in the past, to Constanța, and Stanica and I are old friends, and we've worked together on previous projects, so it's a real privilege. And thank you for this wonderful facility and university that you have, where I'm very much looking forward to making cybersecurity not only top of the agenda, but something that we can all be proud of.
Yeah, I would like to thank you to Dr. John McCarthy for his visit, to his second visit in Constanța, because 1 year ago he attended in March our first conference, cyber security conference, Black Sea Cyber Security Conference, and was a very good opportunity to start our collaboration. Today, despite the higher activity in all the airport, he managed to arrive in Constanța safe, also from cybersecurity point of view.
We have just 20 minutes delay, so that's why maybe we have to apologize to our friends for the 5-10 minutes delay. So coming back, my name is Stanica Enache. As you all know, I'm also the president of the main organizers of the Maritime Cyber Week, Inomar Cluster. And I'm also a specialist in human factor risk profiling. Going further, John, in one of your speeches, you mentioned all things connected, and I think you referred to Internet of Things. All things connected make our life easy.
Yes.
But also make the hacker's life even easier.
Can be.
So my question is this a cyber pessimist or a cyber optimist statement?
I think it's realist. I'm glad you didn't mention the supermarket, because I was going to say other supermarkets are available. But I think we were referring to our fridges ordering goods.
Yes. We were talking on the phone that I got a fridge that communicates with the Lidl supermarket, saying when my products are expiring. But also, Vice Rector Gabriel has a car that he controls from his house. So, how is this?
It's very nice today to control everything from the great distance. But despite this commodity, also it's very risky, because we tend to be put in the situation when a single point of failure, our mobile phone, our other devices could become an open gate to the hackers. From this point of view, we need to address a lot of things, starting with education, continuing with research, and after all of this tremendous work, we need to have very, very good specialists, very well trained in this field.
Yeah.
In the past, when we've looked at cyber security, or we've looked at any form of security, it's generally put at the end of any process that you have. I would like to be an optimist and say that if we bake cybersecurity into the development processes of what we're doing, then cybersecurity won't be an afterthought. It will allow the devices that we are going to love to be secure, efficient, and give us all the benefits that we want from there while keeping our data and our privacy and our systems safe.
Okay, so design, cyber secure by design,
yes.
You think is the answer?
I think it's one of the answers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think in the traditional world of development, we always put security at the end.
Of course. When I check my phone half an hour before this meeting, I saw a very interesting statement from Bruce Schneier. I think everyone in cybersecurity field know Bruce Schneier, starting from Blowfish cryptographic algorithm and continued with a lot of work in this field. He made the following statement: we must slow down innovation in Internet connected things. I suppose maybe he was in a very bad shape when
in a very bad mood. Yeah.
He made this statement, but also I think some interesting things could be pinpointed here, because if we don't address correctly all cybersecurity measures related to Internet of Things, we can go bankrupt, maybe from the freezer side or maybe from other kind of attack.
Okay.
Despite the, how to say, the feel of the joke is not really a joke, because in Industry 4.0 every development will become like a module in a vast universe of Internet of Things.
Okay, so we take that the situation is getting serious.
Yeah.
And if you agree, let's see a video about this.
Okay.
All right.
Will it appear?
Yeah.
USB Rubber Ducky is a keystroke injection tool with a simple scripting language. That means computers see it as an ordinary keyboard, but hidden inside is a little robot that types your payloads at superhuman speeds. You can easily generate payloads to inject binaries into the command line, pop reverse shells, silently exfiltrate data, brute force pin codes. I mean, the possibilities are endless. The USB Rubber Ducky turns seconds of physical access into full penetration. Computers inherently trust keyboards. Computers trust the USB Rubber Ducky.
Yeah, so we got back. Interesting, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So coming back to our meeting, John.
Yes.
We are here in Dobroja. It's the historical region at the Black Sea.
Yep.
Which, as we could see in the past, triggers a lot of attention, the Black Sea region.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in Dobroja, it's a very nice historical region, but here we have a nuclear plant, we have one of the biggest ports in Southeast Europe,
Mm-hmm.
we have a refinery, where we have oil terminal, we even have platforms, offshore platforms. So these are critical infrastructures by NIS directive.
Yes.
So what is NIS directive and why we should all be aware of it, and how the NIS directive will impact the community? Okay. So the relation between critical infrastructure, essential services, and the community and a region itself.
I understand. Well, firstly, nobody really cares if somebody hacks my smartwatch and finds out what my heartbeat is.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're dealing with the Internet of Things and the critical national infrastructure, then they could shut down a power station, they could cause an oil refinery to collapse. And that's why the European Union has looked at something called the Network Information Security Directive, which is a pan-European directive which will allow member states to qualify how they see the Information Security Directive being applied within their particular country. But in principle, it's about securing the networks and the infrastructure of such things that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. Power plants, oil refineries, hospitals.
Yes, so both, I mean, infrastructures that are operated by the public sector, but also by the
Private, public sector,
private
there is no
authorities.
differentiation
No difference.
between the two. Certainly within the UK, you can fall under the NIST directive because the British government says so. So it's not about a criteria. For example, in the UK, you need to be an airport of more than 10 million passengers a year, then you'll be part of the NIST directive.
Yeah, we will talk about that at a very later stage. But Gabriel, I know we've done something. I know we started already a couple of years ago. But I would like you to tell us, what have we done so far to make people more aware and to make organizations act together, maybe, in what would be the main factors that will trigger this togetherness, this acting together, because awareness is all about us as a community.
Yeah, the cybersecurity domain is not so easy to address on different directions or even on entirely as a whole, because we need a lot of experience from different points of view, from different kind of expertise. Why? Because starting with social engineering, which acts like an Achillean calcanus. For example, advancing to the cyber threats induced by improper design software. The lack of training also is more important to address in the future. For this purpose, we are built here, we have researched and built here the first kind of cybersecurity simulator in Maritime University for our knowledge. And using this advanced software systems, we can simulate on large scale the impact of the cyber attack, cyber incidents. Why is so necessary to simulate on a large scale? Because until today a lot of knowledge was laid in the world, not a lot of knowledge was already available, but there is not enough study, there is not enough researches regarding how that vulnerabilities could impact one field of activity or another.
So the simulator, the cyber security center focused on maritime, which is our region specific, will help us to see the broader picture. What else? I wanted to see what was the impact, what was the follow-up from the two conferences that we organized together. I mean, obviously we know that, but maybe our friends, they don't know that we organized the first, and it was a premiere, then the second edition of Maritime Cybersecurity at the Black Sea region.
Yeah, I remember very well the first edition. I think in the first day we announced some vulnerabilities presented in some ERP software. In the third day we had some courses about ISO and data protection. We had a lot of participants, important participants at worldwide level. And I think in the autumn, one of them, I don't want to pronounce the name, suffered a major security breakage. From this point to the second conference, we had 1 full year. In that one full year, a lot of events related to maritime field, but not only related to maritime field, because the maritime field is very well connected to all the other industrial field, happen, and all these incidents conduct to the new conclusions about how to tune, how to modify, how to evolve in address the cybersecurity risks.
Okay. Yeah, so in between the two editions of the conference, there were registered also some attacks. If you don't pronounce, I'll pronounce it. The first was Deloitte, and the second major attack immediately after or before the second edition was Maritime, which suffered a dramatic attack. Now, I will have to pay attention, and please do it with me, because my next question is sensitive. John, you are teaching a government-endorsed training in Romania.
Yes.
I'm sure you did it in other parts of the world, of
Absolutely.
course.
Yes.
Now, we here in Omar and Constanța Maritime University and AREX, which is the third co-organizer of the event, are looking to the private operators of critical infrastructure mostly, and that's for a reason. But let me ask you, how is the alliance between government and the private sector and the civil society happening in the UK? Because we're looking at that environment and we're kind of jealous. What's happening there? Why you trigger it so nicely?
It's always worth looking at the National Cybersecurity Centre,
Okay.
which is an institution set up 2 or 3 years ago in the UK, which is part of GCHQ. The UK government recognised that if you have a secure cyber infrastructure, then people will feel more confident about commerce. And I know that boosting commerce is a critical element of what you're trying to do in Constanța. So to do that, they've engaged with senior academics and the private sector, where they actually look to people like me. I have a foot in the academic world and in the private sector, where companies can get on board, work with them, get accreditation to make sure that we're all secure in our environment. And to bring this abroad is critical, because we are actually, whether we choose to like it or not, we are all part of one network. And the more security that we can apply across that network, the better we're going to be.
Okay. Gabriel, I think we agree. I look forward to see a training delivered by one of us in another country and endorsed by Cyberint of the National Intelligence Service. That time will come. I think it's an opening in that direction.
We receive here directly an invitation
Absolutely.
to come into England.
Okay.
It's interesting because only together different actors could assure a very high degree of
There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about it.
And I think we are in hard searching. Is not so good in English, but it's very hard to find the ways to collaborate. But I think we are in the position to make the first steps and maybe to burn some milestones in a matter of shorter time than others, because we can benefit from their experience from this point of view.
Well, we've done our steps.
The fundamental principle of cybersecurity is information sharing and awareness. And unless we all collaborate together, nations, companies, organisations, public and private sectors, we will not be secure.
Yes. One of the best slogans for me was "sharing is power," and I took it all the way in my career, because it's true. So, talking about the event and this collaboration and complementarity, Gabriel, who will be within our participants at the event tomorrow?
Yeah, we have a lot of subscriptions in this activity, because some of company managers from harbor area, also from other different domains, wants to assure the best training using this opportunity to attend this course. On one hand, and on the second, I think also some of our colleagues wants to participate, because it's important to enlarge our view in this field of research. Also, I think some other actors in this security field will be interesting in the future, because we are on the first step, step number 0, on the 0 level to start in this activity, and in the future I'm deeply convinced we can mobilize an even higher interest in this activity.
Okay, we look forward to see all of them tomorrow. The event, by the way, is fully booked, but with your agreement, I think if we receive some requests tonight after this broadcasting, I think we can find another 4 or 5 seats, at least for the master class, if not for the certified training. Now, before going to talk, and this is the last questions, dear friends, about social engineering, about ingineria socială. This is how it looks like, it sounds like in Romanian. Let's see the next video.
So I invited a few of the world's best hackers to try to hack me and show me where my vulnerabilities are. And now I'm going to meet them in Las Vegas for DEF CON, the biggest hacker convention of the year. They're going to hack me using social engineering, which is essentially hacking without any code. They just use a phone and an internet connection.
Do you want to do a sample phishing call?
What's phishing?
Phishing is voice solicitation, and basically what you do is you use the phone to extract information or data points that can be used in a later attack.
Let's do it. Who are you going to call?
Maybe I'll call your cell phone provider and see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, go for it.
I'm going to spoof from your number, so it's going to look like it's calling from you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. my husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today. So I'm so sorry. I can't call you back. I'm trying to log into our account for usage information and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. The baby's crying and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
at gmail.com.
Jessica gets access to my personal email address.
Now, if I needed to add our older daughter on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure PIN through a text message? Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Shh. Oh, I'm not on there either? So I thought when we got married, he added me to the account.
Jess uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
5127
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry, so there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my password.
Thank you so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
I'll get her fed after this. All right, thank you.
Holy shit. So they just gave you access to my entire cell phone account.
You're gonna have to go on and change your password now because it's Jess, my name.
And all it took was a crying baby and a phone call.
Yes.
Yeah, amazing, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So we come to the social engineering. So, John, the third day of the Black Sea Cyber Week will be dedicated to social engineering, but from an organizational needs perspective, I guess.
Yes.
Because that's your ground. Tell us about what is social engineering and which side of the social engineering are the hackers, which side are the protectors? I mean,
okay. Well, both sides use social engineering. Hackers use it more. The principle of social engineering is based upon the simple fact that as mammals, we are engineered to cooperate with each other. And if you can understand that and understand the social protocols that sit around that, then you can get people to do what you want them to do. It's ironic that we spend 90% of our security budget is spent on technology, and yet 80% of all breaches involve humans. So we never really look at the human element involved in this. And that's in principle why this is probably the most cost-effective and beneficial training any organisation can actually use.
This is how I get paid. through human factor vulnerabilities. Yeah, you're right. And are these social engineering aggressions, let's say, different from a culture to another? Are they depending on culture?
Yes, because different cultures have different forms of social etiquette. And so they will always use local cultures, find out how they work and adopt, and then adopt those cultures. So, for example, a good social engineering team could spend 3 months examining your organisation before it could ever begin its attack. And there are software programs that will help you develop and understand how you can get snippets of information and bring those together to form a cohesive picture of your infrastructure and environment without ever having to scan your networks.
Okay. And Gabriel, how is the Ingineria Socială from a maritime perspective?
Yeah, we are living now in social engineering era. Why I said this? Because let's think about social networks. Let's think about social communication between different devices. We are deeply engaged in a form of social engineering. When this kind of social engineering becomes dark, we are try to make some assumptions about how to proceed to eliminate the risk. But also in maritime field, the ships tend to become very well connected, at least in the future, starting with autonomous ship, like a great experiment today, but maybe the big future tomorrow. And for this assumption, we can consider also the social engineering a major factor of risks on board of the ship. It's very important to understand how to prevent some events. You already saw in that clips about how to hack without hardware, how to hack without computer. It's very nice to make.
Well, she needed a computer just to make a baby
just to
crying
make a baby noise, baby crying. Maybe in the past she can use an LP to make to make the same noise. In fact, if we are thinking proactively, maybe in the era of Graham Bell, some social engineering could perform at that time. But anyhow, also the social engineering concept evolve at the same speed with our society, and maybe in the future social engineering will become more prone to dark successes, to great attacks with also very important damage.
Okay.
Please remember that the most effective social engineering attack is the following: what is your password?
Yeah.
Okay.
And people will still tell you their password if you ask them. And until we can get past that point, we're never really going to stop social engineering.
I thought the biggest threat is that will never happen to me. But I think it happened at least once when I answered this question. What's your password? I gave it. And I claim to be a specialist in information security. Anyway, so we are approaching the end of keeping our friends busy on a Sunday night. So dear friends, again, we have a special guest, Dr. John McCarthy, coming all the way from England. He just landed. And it will follow 3 days of show. I mean, it's
informative, educational, enlightening, fun, and a pleasure and honour to be part of the Black Sea Cycle.
Yes. And then thanks to our host, Dr. Gabriel Raicu.
Was a pleasure.
Open-minded is at his home, it's at its home here in Constanța Maritime University. As both of them say, let's look at the cybersecurity phenomenon and threats and attacks in terms of financial losses, in terms of material losses. This is for the managers. This is for the port specialists, for the captain of the boats. The ones that think that no, this is too expensive to treat, this is too expensive to address. If you think like Maersk Line suffered several $1 million loss coming from a cybersecurity attack. Ships are wrecked in high seas. Wars are fought on internet and social media with fake news, and not only. So you can be the manager, can be the operator, the port operator, the infrastructure operator, the essential service like water, power to the community that can make a difference, can prevent such a huge loss financially and maybe also in human life. So outstanding IT companies, shipping agencies, local authorities and associations are going to attend the Black Sea Cyber Week during the next day. The event is fully booked. Message us if you want a seat, and maybe we'll find 2 or 3 seats. We together can develop a strong cyber security hub here in Constanța. It's our objective to become a city with smart specialization in maritime cybersecurity. And protecting our systems from being hacked should be on our priority agenda. So we all waiting for you to attend our events. I think the master class, John, you allow us to be broadcasted
Absolutely.
directly?
Great fun.
Okay, that will be, we wanted his permission. The master class will be broadcasted on our Facebook page. So see you there. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.